Hey Ben, this is Kevin Brissett. Talk to you later.
All right. Good morning. We're here. We all made it. We are gonna do a flash band today. Woohoo!
Happy Sabbath. There we go. Good to see everybody. We're glad you're here. And thank you for the flash band music. You guys are sounding awesome. And it's nice to see some new faces. Adam, right? Adriana. Or Aria. Aria, there we go. Glad you guys are here. And I love that song, right? That's one of my favorite songs. Jesus, do not pass me by. That is a prayer of mine often. So welcome. We're glad you're here. Those who are watching online, welcome to City Sanctuary. My name is Bert, and I have just a few announcements to share with you of things that are going on in our community. And the first thing is, today is the third Sabbath of February. Can you believe it? The month is flying by. We're almost half over. And today after church, we'll be headed over to our friends who live at the Medallion for our monthly birthday party. So if you're interested in celebrating birthdays or you have a birthday, come with us to the Medallion after church, and you can follow me or get directions from me, Pastor Dan. I think Marshall and Nazi are going. So we'd love to have you celebrate birthdays. Last weekend was what? A snow day, right? There was no church here, and we were supposed to have last Saturday night our game night. I know, and it didn't happen. Were you here, David? No, I didn't text. Okay. Hopefully nobody came down here because there was nobody here. I wasn't here. Or I don't think anyone else was here. So game night is still going to happen, you guys. It's going to be next Saturday night. That would be the 23rd of February. It will be at 5 p.m. And if you haven't been to game night before, come out. It's a lot of fun. If you don't like games, it's a social time. You can still enjoy chatting with friends, making new friends, bring some food. So that's at 5 o'clock next Saturday night. And then a week from, 2 weeks from, I guess, this last Thursday, is our cow at the Medallion. Who knows what the cow is? Commodity on Wheels, right? So that's our mobile food pantry for those of you who have never been involved with the cow. And we're always looking for volunteers to help out with that. I believe that happens at 4 p.m. Is that right, Pastor Dan? 4 p.m. It's on a Thursday, so we're always looking for volunteers. And another great time to be a blessing to our community. So if you're interested in that, let Pastor Dan know, or Tom White. Tom is not here today, but you could reach out to him. And then last but not least, I'm looking forward to this because I haven't been to one in a while, is our Open Artist Night, right, Steve? So that is going to happen on March 9th. And Open Artist Night is a time just to come out and enjoy art, culture, music. If you have something that you want to sing or share, a poem, photography, just whatever the creative juices are flowing in your mind, come and share. If you want to know more about it, Steve can fill you in on that. So that will be March 9. And what time are we doing that at? 7 p.m. on March 9th. So look forward to that. So with that, kids, why don't you come up? We got some more music, and I've heard we're going to be doing some kids songs. So kids, come on down.
Like
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen. 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 Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen. Amen. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was worth clapping for. Been singing that song for 50-some years. It's the best.
It's been a really fun morning. I just wanted to introduce everyone. I know we started a few introductions earlier. So Adam, and then August. Then we have Ben, myself, Christina, and this is Ariel, and got Kevin back here and Pastor Dan. So yeah, we just been able to do a little fusion, and it's been really fun. So yeah, sing it out. Sing with us, guys. Earnestly seek you. Please give us your wisdom to know you, to discern the truth from the false, and reclaim the parts of us that have been revealed to us, the secret of the ignorant, the obvious is that you deeply love us. Help us find the truth we seek and obtain the peace that feeds what our hearts need. And I sing praises to the secret keeper of all that was and is to come. And I am yearning for your deeper healing. Unlock the depths of my inner soul. falls and reclaim the parts of us that have been lost. And I sing praises to the secret keeper of all that was and is to come. And I am yearning for your deeper healing. Unlock the depths of my inner soul. And I sing praises to the secret keeper of all that was and is to come. And I am yearning for your deeper healing. Unlock the doors of my inner soul. We are seeking you. So this next one, I just really love this hymn. It's kind of been a renewed appreciation for it. It's really beautiful, and I think just taking this moment to reflect on just the fact that we have this intimate friend. We have this Father who looks after us and wants this deep relationship with us. It's like everything else just really kind of goes dim for me when I stop and think about that. It's like, so anyway, we can think about this as we sing this song. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Oh, so are you weary and troubled? No light in the darkness you see. There's light for a look at the Savior, and life more abundant and free.
Through death into life everlasting, he passed as we follow him there. For us sin no more hath dominion, for moral conquerors we are. Oh, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. His word for you promised.
Believe him and all will be well.
Then go to a world that is dying,
His perfect salvation to tell. Oh, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face.
rose from the grave, shedding the fallen, bringing the light of day. Hallowed be thy name. Hallowed be thy name. Hallowed be thy name in all the earth. One more time. Hallowed be thy name. Hallowed be thy name. Hallowed be thy name in all the earth.
Thank you, Don. 59 years old today. "59, Arnold." You know, I had someone come up to me and say, you know, you guys have some pretty good music sometimes. How come nobody claps? I said, well, we're just kind of not that kind of church, I guess. Don's been trying for 11 years to encourage that. He's still pretty much alone. But Arnold has been consistent in clapping. We really appreciate that role model, Arnold. I wish more people would follow your example. It's amazing how each church has their own way of doing life. And I got my my two nephews, my grandnephews, right here with me. And their daddy made those guitars. Aren't those the cutest things? And the strings actually play. Are they, Ben, are they guitar strings or, huh? Fishing string. Wow. That's just so awesome. Well, guys, I'm so glad you're up here to help me because I'm talking about marriage today. And I don't know if I've ever shared this before, that in my internship, I'd been an intern for 5 months, and my senior pastor gave me the assignment to preach on marriage. And Lisa and I had just gotten engaged, so I knew a lot about marriage. But I said, I don't know anything. And he said, yeah, but I want you to get into the Bible, and I want you to preach a sermon on marriage, even though you're not married. It was very, very hard to find a way to go in the Bible about marriage. You know why? There's very little to go on. Very little to go on. And so I basically got up front and I said, well, today I'm preaching about marriage. And they all just busted out laughing. And I said, I know. I don't know anything about it, but I've been assigned this, and so I'm going to preach my best sermon on marriage. I have no idea what I preached, but I remember the feeling of feeling pretty overwhelmed by that topic. I have preached very little about marriage for the last 36 years. Once again, there is not much to go on in the Bible, and we pretty much have heard everybody's best spin on it. I've been married long enough to know that in our marriage, the problems have pretty much been coming from me to her. there's been kind of well, it's just kind of happened that way. And so I don't feel really like I'm really the guy I should be preaching about marriage, because it's been very much a growing, maturing experience. Lisa could preach about marriage. One thing about my wife, she does not put me down, but she will confront me. So I'd be comfortable. Here's the other thing, though. When I was in training, we had absolutely no classes about how to talk to people with marriage problems. None. I had all kinds of Old Testament classes. I had all kinds of exegetical. I had foreign languages. Huh? Yeah, that's right. And I had no training. And then I went to seminary, and you would think there that there would be some training about marriage counseling. I got none. So I kind of began pastoring in Upper Ridge without any kind of real confidence about, now that I was a newlywed and a new father and stuff, about marriage, and I didn't know how to help people. And yet, guess what happened in the first 6 months of my pastoring? Couple after couple after couple after couple. I learned a lot about marriage over the last 36 years because people have taken me along on their journeys. That's my education. So the question that I have today is, why is marriage so difficult? Why is it? Is there a place in the Bible that tells us why? And if we have time, we're going to preach, I'm going to play a country western song called I Only Married Her Because She Looks Like You. Because, I want us to have a little bit of laughter. 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be preaching a sermon called Did I Shave My Legs for This? This is for the ladies, and, things that they hope will happen, and when the husband comes home, that doesn't happen. And the question she asked, did I shave my legs for all this? It's a great song, great song. So that's the direction we're heading. But today, I'd like you to take Genesis chapter 2. There is a place in the Bible that tells us what happened. If marriage has ever been a challenge for you, there is a reason. And the Bible actually gives us enough information to know. So Genesis chapter 2. So where am I going to go? Do you guys know? Do you have any idea? It says here, then Adam and Eve were created. And then it goes on down and says it's not good for a man to be alone, and how Eve was made specifically from his rib. And then we come to chapter 3. But in verse 25 of chapter 2, there is one verse. One verse. Why that verse was put in there is a mystery until you read the next chapter. Verse 25, although now Adam and Eve and his wife were both naked, neither of them felt any what? No shame. No shame. Being naked was the way you walked around, and there was no shame. Being naked, Adam and Eve. All right. Next verse, next chapter. There was a serpent. He asked the woman, did God really say you shouldn't eat any fruit in the garden? Oh, of course we ate it, but it's only the fruit from the tree in the center can we eat. We're not allowed to eat from here. God says we must not eat it or even touch it or we'll die. Oh, you won't die, serpent hissed. God knows that your eyes will be opened. Interesting. They were naked and they were not ashamed. The devil says, you know what? If you eat this, your eyes are going to be open. Does that happen? Were their eyes open? Yes. Yes. And then it says here, the woman was convinced. The fruit looked so fresh and delicious, and it made her so wise. It could make her wise, and so she ate some of the fruit, and she gave it also some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it too. At the moment, their eyes were opened, at that moment, and they suddenly felt ashamed because they were what? Naked. And then it says, it's so sad. What did they do after they found out they were naked? What's the first act of separation in the marriage? What's the first act? There was this creativity that kicked in. We have to cover these things up. Where does that come from? And so their eyes were open, they're naked, and it says that they went and found what? Fig leaves, and they strung fig leaves together around their hips to cover themselves. And toward evening, they heard the Lord God walking in the garden, and so what did they do? Okay. They were naked. They were not ashamed. They ate from the tree. Their eyes were open. And what did they see? We're naked. And they had what? Shame. What do we do with shame? We cover it up. They go and make these little outfits. They cover themselves up. And then they heard God. And the next thing we see, this is all about marriage and relationships. The next thing we see is, what do? They hid themselves among the trees. So, instantly you have a separation between the man and the nudity and the shame that came with it. So, well, what do we do with it? We got to cover these up. Well, who's telling them this? What's the frame of reference? Is there any frame of reference before that? No, there's none. There's none. We got to cover this up. All right, what do we do? Oh, here's a big leaf. We can cover it. We can do it, and we'll put these together. And they worked it out. And then they heard Jesus coming in the garden, and they said, okay, we better face the music. What did they do? They hid from their Creator. So now you've got two major issues in the marriage. What's the first one? Each person is ashamed of themselves and their nakedness. Is that going to create an issue in the marriage? Does that create an issue? When you're ashamed of something that is you, we're talking now, is this a self-esteem thing? Is this something that is just, where does it come from? But they had no confidence in being naked around each other. And so they kept themselves covered up. And the next thing was they hid from their Maker. Is that bad for marriage? Yeah. You hide from God and you're ashamed of your bodies, and so you cover yourself up. What is going to happen in a relationship where there is shame and you're hiding from God? What happens? Good luck. Good luck. All of a sudden, there is no oneness anymore. They've got barriers. So what happens when God finds them? Help me out. Well, he calls out. He calls out, and what happens? Adam and Eve, where are you? Where are you? Verse 10, he replied, I heard you, so I hid. Hide and seek. Hide and seek. I'm hiding from you. Why? I was afraid. And it says here, he replied, I was afraid because why? I was naked. This is heavy stuff, friends. Really, really heavy. You have a creator God that made them naked and said, now this is the way you're going to walk around here because that's what's normal. There is no such thing as anything else. You're naked. This is the way we do life. Perfect temperature. Nothing to worry about. No shame. They hid from God. Why? Because of their nakedness. What did the nakedness mean, you guys? They're covering themselves up and they're hiding from God because of their own shame. Shame. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Every one of us know in our relationship with Christ how difficult it is to be connected with Him and to stay connected. We tend to duck and run. We come back, we leave, we come back, we leave. Because we're ashamed of ourselves. And then it says this. Jesus said, who told you that you were what? Who told you that? Well, all of a sudden it was there. And they had a word, and the word was naked. And it was a word that created tremendous anxiety. And so they covered up their nakedness. And they hid from God. Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the fruit? What happened next? Just watch this marriage disintegrate. He's going to disintegrate right in front of your eyes. Well, they're ashamed, so they make fig leaves, so they're working together. They're problem solving, right? Can't have this around. I got to cover it up, and we're going to hide, and because we're afraid, and we're afraid because of our nakedness. And then in verse 12, he said, well, did you eat from that tree that you were not supposed to? And Adam said, yes, but it was the woman that you gave me, who brought me the fruit, and I ate it. Now, is that going to create some distance in a marriage? I'm ashamed of myself. I'm trying to cover myself up. I want to hide from you because of, well, I'm naked. And, well, you know, how'd you find out you're naked? Blah, blah, blah. Well, did you eat from that tree? Yes, I did. Because? Do men own their crap, ladies? Do they do it very well? Huh? Huh? Well, Adam didn't think so either. Maybe that's an original sin, Don. I don't know. The truth is this. He was not going to own anything. And so who did he put the finger on? I'm not the problem. She is. That you made. That's part two. It's her, and guess what? I didn't make her. You did. God, you are the problem. God, you are the problem. If you hadn't have made her, I would not be in this position. So think about what that's going to do for their marriage. It's devastating, friends. Why is marriage so hard? We have the narrative. And then he said, and I ate it. And then the Lord asked the woman, so how could you do such a thing? God's just rolling with him. He's just rolling. And she said what? The serpent tricked me. I got tricked. I got tricked. The serpent tricked me. That's why I ate it. What is she not owning? her own choice, her own choices. She's not owning her choices. There is no honesty. There is no truth. Adam puts the finger on her. She puts the finger on what? The snake that God made. It's implied, right? It's implied. Oh, by the way, you made the snake, right? Okay. So the Lord said to the serpent, because you have done this, you're going to be punished. You are singled out from all domestic wild animals, and the whole earth can be cursed. You will grovel in the dust as long as you live, crawling along on your belly. From now on, you and the woman are going to be enemies. And your offspring and her offspring will be enemies. He will crush your head, the offspring, and you will strike his heel. Now, that's a prophetic utterance. Okay? And then it says this. And then he looked at Eve. Now, he's going to work himself back up the chain. He goes first to Adam and Eve? No. He goes to the snake. This is what's going to happen to you, snake. And then he turns to Eve. Consequence? What does he say? He said to the woman, you will bear children with intense pain and suffering. And though your desire will be for your husband, he will be your master. Is it still a man's world? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Have women been treated well by men throughout history? No. No. It's really interesting. My wife has always told me, do you know what God's definition of pain is? Intense pain. What is God's definition of real pain? Childbirth. So guys, you're not going to trump her pain. That's real pain. And God said, you're going to have it. Why? You do this, this happens. Consequence. But it says something that her affection will be for who? Her husband. And what will he do? Dominate her. Now, I can tell you one thing for a fact. All the marriage couples that I've worked with, the deep desire of a wife is, will my husband stop and value me? Do I matter to him? I love him so much, but I feel that he just wants to control me. He wants to run my life. I just want his love. What do women want from men? Stop, turn around, look at me, listen to me, hear me, and care about me. Are men good at this? Yes or no? No. No. I've had some good moments. It's just so doggone hard to be consistent with that. And it's lined up in the Bible. There's something here with those decisions they made that has created a blockage where I want to do that for Lisa. I've been to the counselors. I know all the techniques. I know how to do this. I can tell you guys how to do this. But what? What? It's still hard, and doing it is very, very difficult. But it's something that is needed in a marriage on a consistent level. Hopefully, a woman will stay with her man long enough where he finally has to learn, and he maybe learns some of that. But it's a major, major problem. And then he comes to Adam. Check this out. What does it say? And to Adam he said, because you listened to your wife. Who's he making own this? Yeah, your wife handed you that, but because you what? You listened to her and chose it, this is what you get. What does it say? It says, I have placed a curse on the ground. All your life, you will struggle to scratch a living from it. It will grow thorns and thistles for you, and though you will eat of its grains, all your life you will sweat to produce food until your dying day. Then you will return to the ground from which you came. You were made from dust, and to dust you will return. Okay. What's going to happen to Adam now? What happens to him? If I want to live, and if I want Eve to live, I'm going to have to do what? I'm going to have to work. How hard? What's the sweat mean? You're working hard. And what is he working hard to do? Provide what? Food. And hopefully shelter. Where is a man's focus? Do you know how many times I've told my dear wife? You know, she said, I love you, but I feel like I'm getting crumbs, and crumbs don't make a loaf of bread. I said, yeah, but I'm out there working to provide, and what drives me, I'm motivated, is to take care of her. Is that what she's seeking? No, what was Eve going to seek? Her heart will be for who? Yes. It's not that she doesn't value my work ethic and that I've actually held a job all these years. It's cool. It's that that's not what she married me for. She married me with the hope that I would love her on a consistent level all through the years. Well, getting crumbs is not a consistent level, is it? But a man comes home, how much emotional energy does he have in his tank if he's out there sweating to make a living? So where's the man's attention? Is it on her or the kids? No. He has to get up, the tent is there, gets himself ready, he kisses his wife goodbye, and Eve is at the door. Because her heart is for what? She doesn't want him to go away. But he knows he has to go away. He turns his back on her and walks out the door to go out into the wild and do what? Survive. And there you have it. Men have a very difficult time concentrating on the woman they love. They have a very hard time doing that. My wife says, you know, when you do that, you're phenomenal. And when you don't, you can be here, but you're gone. You're not even here. That's who would come home to Eve. Is that going to create some issues in the marriage? So you start with the nudity, got to cover it up. You hide from God because you're ashamed of your nakedness, and you feel like, you know what? He's going to reject me. Because I'm naked. Couldn't get the fact that he actually made you that way. And then for Eve, you're going to feel pain when you give birth to babies. And number two, your heart is going to be for your husband. And you're going to love him, and he will what? Rule over you. Is that going to be a good marriage, you guys? I did it for about 6 months, and then I realized I married a Norwegian. She used to call me General George. Well, that was my role model. I mean, that's how it was in my family. Men rule. Men rule. And she said, not so fast, buckaroo. There's consequences if you're this way. I said, okay. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay? And then for Adam, you're going to leave your home every day and go out there and try to survive. And when you come back from trying to survive, how much do you have in your tank to meet those needs of your wife and your children? Not much. Not much. This is why marriage is so hard. There's something happened there. Something happened in that story, and everything was broken apart. So, we'll do Lyle Lovelet next week. Because what I'm going to focus on now is I would like to tell the women what men are really wanting in their life. And then I'll try to tell you what women are wanting in their life. Maybe I'll ask for my wife's help on that. But I'm going to use some country music as our fodder to learn about that. What do your men really want or need, and what do your women want? And knowing that these barriers are there, can you, by God's grace, bring him, and don't hide from him, bring him into your heart. Don't hide from him in the woods, behind trees. Take him into your heart and let him help you do those things, and help you ladies do those things. Band, come on up. I feel a Negro spiritual coming on. Poor wayfaring stranger. Is that what it is?
Gonna bring the energy up a little bit. Happy Sabbath, everyone. Glad you're here.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear